Okay, pal, you want smash mouth power and efficiency? Then here's your starting lineup. Ford F-Series, #1 for 37 years straight. Talk about a dynasty, baby. Hey, it's game time, sports fans, at the Bill Ford Tough Sales event.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first edition of the Coach Misty Wilson radio show. I'm Kelton Waynes, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in this week on 90.5 KTRL or at tarletonsports.com/listen live. We're coming to you live from the lobby of First Financial Bank in Stephenville, and it is my honor to introduce the first-year head coach of the Tarleton Texans, Misty Wilson. How are you doing today, Coach?
Good.
Coach, first of all, this isn't your first time on radio, but this is certainly not the first. But this is the first time that this show has had your name on it. It's a little bit different, isn't it?
It is. Somebody actually asked me, did I ask for a radio show? And I said, if you know me at all, you would know that I did not ask for this.
Now, going along with that, something that we haven't really talked about this year is when you're the head coach, there's some more responsibility in terms of talking to the media and talking to the boosters. And how do you think you've handled that so far?
I think being around the program as long as I have, I've had the opportunity and the joy to meet some of the boosters and the sponsors, and so you have those relationships that have been built over time. And probably the biggest transition is definitely the media. It's not something that I was really trained to do, but we should maybe think about getting some type of training program for people like me who aren't real comfortable in that situation. But I'm getting there.
Well, Coach, I'll definitely work on that for sure. Let's jump right into it. You're now in conference play, a great time of the year. Let's start with Saturday's opener against Texas Women's. You had a chance to look at the film in that 63-54 loss. What did you see in that one?
We always took guarded shots. All of our shots were guarded shots, and I didn't feel like we did a very good job of moving the ball. I felt like we did a pretty good job defensively, and I think our team, really focused in and got the stops that we needed to. We just didn't shoot well, and a lot of that was because of us only having 6 assists.
You talked about those 6 assists. You had 10, I believe, last night against Angelo State. What did you do in practices last week to help correct that action?
We just stressed to them that if you're guarded and there's 2 on you, that there's somebody open, and if you draw defenders, make sure you keep looking and find that open person. And we did that so much better last night, and I think our scoring certainly reflected that.
Heading into that Texas women's game, you were first in the Lone Star Conference in 3-point shooting, yet you should only shoot 22%. What was it something that women's was doing that led to the struggles from outside, or was it really just your team?
I think it was just our team. We did get some open looks, but I didn't feel like our shooters were in a stance, ready to shoot when the ball hit their hands. And I know if you watched the game last night, that was probably the biggest difference, I thought, is we got our shots off a lot quicker and we were ready to shoot.
But one of the silver linings that you can take from that women's game, it was a very fast-paced, very frenetic game. And you didn't play a whole lot of players, but they really seemed to handle the fast pace very well. A testament to your conditioning. What does that say about this team as the season stretches on?
Well, we talked last night about some depth that we have, and 10 people is actually quite a few people to play in a college basketball game. You look at a lot of people's stats, and their starters will play 30 minutes or more, and our starters typically don't have to do that. If somebody's having a good night, then we'll certainly do that, but we don't have to, because we do have a lot of depth. And they've worked so hard since September as far as the conditioning goes. That's not something that just comes, you snap your fingers and come. That's certainly a process, and they've done that for a while now.
Coach, jumping back to last night, you played Angelo State. You beat them 81-71, and now 7-3 on the season. Give us your thoughts on that game.
I thought it was a total team effort. I mean, of course, Raven had a big night, but the things that don't show up in the stat sheet are things like Pac played really good post defense last night. She got some steals, and she really held her girl to limited shots and limited scoring, and that really helped because they really only had 2 people that really hurt us last night as opposed to 5, and that's just a testament to individuals doing the dirty work, and I think we did that a lot better last night.
Your first win as a head coach was against Southern Arkansas in overtime. Your first conference win was against Angelo State last night by 10. How important is that first conference win? Is that as important as your first ever win?
I think it's pretty important. You want to have confidence going into every game, and you want to feel like you can play with people in the Lone Star Conference, because it is a strong conference. And we lost the first one, and we knew we had kind of done that to ourselves, and I felt like it was important for our confidence to go out and get a good win.
Last night, Raven McGrath, career high 19 points. Talk about her effort this season. She's done a fantastic job really kind of establishing herself as one of the Texans' go-to players.
Raven, to me, is a basketball player that any coach would, just be excited to have. Everything that she does, everything that she has is a result of her effort. She's always coming early or staying late, and she has just worked her tail off from the minute because she was actually a walk-on from the minute she walked on, and she has earned every bit of recognition that she's getting.
Coach, in that Angelo State game, they played two players that weren't even on their fall roster whenever you watched them, whenever they played in Stephenville. How did you adapt to seeing both of those European players come in just at random last night?
Yeah, we actually, I looked at their roster, of course, on Monday, and I thought, two new players, and there was some players that were missing, and that happens sometimes over the break. But I certainly did not expect them to be, contributing the way they did last night. But, that's something that, if a coach feels like they're ready to come in and play, then they're ready to play. But I was just glad that they didn't really hurt us last night, and we did a good job of guarding them, even though we knew nothing about them.
Second straight fast-paced game for you. Is that something that we'll see a lot in the LSC this year?
I hope so. I think a lot of people are doing more transition. And I think part of that is because of the way the games are being officiated. You don't, the offense has a lot of freedom of movement, and so that kind of leads to more transition, more getting to the basket in a fast-paced game.
Finally, Coach, we're talking to Kathy Thomas in the next segment. She's leading the team scoring this season. She had 14 points last night, 12 points on Saturday. She's playing very well.
Kathy's another one that just has, she just has it. The kind of the it factor. She understands the game. She's played it for so long. She's extremely athletic, so quick, and on top of that, she works hard. And she's a good leader, and I think her teammates really follow her and Carly's leadership. And again, she's another one that has earned every bit of success that she's gotten.
Well, that's going to do it for our first segment from the first ever edition of the Coach Misty Wilson radio show at First Financial Bank on the South Loop in Stephenville. When we return in 1 minute, we will talk to Texan senior guard Kathy Thomas. This is the Tarleton Sports Network presented by the North Texas Ford Dealers. And welcome back to First Financial Bank in Stephenville. I'm the voice of the Tarleton Texans, Kelton Weens, and this is the Coach Misty Wilson radio show. It's time for this week's Texan Player Spotlight. Joining me now is senior guard Kathy Thomas. Kathy, it's great to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
First, I want to jump all the way back to November 28th in the tournament at Lubbock Christian, and you played the Chaps of LCU, and you poured on 25 points and 7 of 7 from behind the arc. Talk about that game, and how do you go forward and replicate that kind of success?
Just heading into practice that week, we just practiced a lot against their zone, and I really didn't go into that game thinking be aggressive on offense because their leading scorer was their point guard, and my main focus was locking her down on defense and just running the floor, and I just got a lot of open shots, and my teammates was finding me, so I give all credit to my teammates.
You've been around for a while, but does that kind of performance help you down the stretch, shooting-wise?
I honestly feel like all of our players can score, so like Raven had a good night last night, and I just feel like whoever hot can, perform for our team.
Talk about this team this year. So far, you've played some pretty close games, and what are your thoughts on this season, emotionally as well as bonding-wise?
I think our team is pretty close, and I feel like our close games is only going to help us in conference because we prepare for it, and we've been in situations like it.
Now you've had a number of college basketball coaches over the years. I can't promise that Coach Wilson might make you run for this, but where does she rank on your list?
Coach Wilson is very caring, and I love Coach Wilson, and I love her family, and I love like the work she puts into being a parent on and off the court for us, and I love how she encourages us. And Coach Wilson, she's a good coach.
Now, I want to talk about your past a little bit. You're from Flint, Michigan, which was a great American city whenever the auto companies were there, and then whenever they left, and it kind of fell in a little bit of decline. Talk about growing up in Flint.
I love Flint. I was like, nothing can take me from Flint, and I love Flint. I love being a Flintstone. I love putting on for my city, and if you ask me like where I'm from Michigan, I would say Flint, not Detroit.
Where is that? The Michiganians hold up their hand. Where is that on the hand? On the middle?
Right here.
Okay. Now, you had 6 siblings. That's got to be quite a household for you.
Yes. I am the 4th oldest. I have 3 older than me, 3 younger, and I have 3 older brothers. So, of course, I was the first girl.
Of course.
And I was a little tomboy, so I got beat up on a lot, but I think that makes me who I am today.
Now, what role did basketball play in your life growing up and through high school?
I've been playing since I was in like 1st grade, and like I said, I was a tomboy, so I used to always get out there with my brothers, and I just love basketball. Like, it's like something in my heart that just like beats like every time. So like, I can't imagine my life without basketball.
Now, you go to Highland Community College in Kansas. How was my home state?
In the middle of nowhere. But it was fun though. Like, we was the first team to set the school record for the most wins, and it was fun. Won a lot of awards there, but it was fun.
Then you move on to Iowa City and play for the Hawkeyes at the University of Iowa. Talk about that one. The same?
It was fun.
And then now you're in Stephenville. It's quite a shift. I imagine the Flint, Michigan, and Highland, Kansas, as well as Iowa City get a little bit more snow than Stephenville does.
Yes.
Now talk about what do you think of Stephenville, and how did you end up at Tarleton?
Stephenville feels like home a little bit for me. I guess it's because of my teammates and the coaches. Like, I just feel like I'm at home, and I ended up at Tarleton because I had a friend that played for the boys team, and I told him I was going to transfer, and he told me that he was going to contact Coach Wilson and talk to Kiera. So it was really DeAndre Upchurch and Kiera and Coach Wilson.
Finally, Kathy, you're senior this year. What are your plans after you step off the basketball court?
I would like to go overseas, but my second plan is if I don't go overseas, I'm just going to go to graduate school and, start a career.
In what?
Fitness management, personal training.
Well, thank you very much for your time today, Kathy, and good luck this season. We'll talk to you on Saturday.
Thank you.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back in 1 minute on the Coach Misty Wilson radio show on the Tarleton Sports Network, presented by the North Texas Ford Dealers. And welcome back to the Coach Misty Wilson radio show from First Financial Bank on the South Loop in Stephenville. I'm pleased to be joined once again by the first-year head coach of the Tarleton Texans, Misty Wilson. And Coach, talk about this crowd. You got a great crowd on hand.
Yeah, a lot of people here. I was actually hoping there wouldn't be this many people here. It kind of worked me in a little bit, but no, I'm grateful for the support and happy that people are here.
Coach, now's the point in the show where we preview the upcoming Lone Star Conference games. First, you've got Texas A&M Kingsville back in Wisdom Gym. First of all, it will have been 41 days since you last played in Wisdom Gym. It's going to be nice to play at home for once.
Wow, all these stats that y'all have are just unbelievable to me. Yeah, like I said last night, we love Wisdom Gym. It's kind of a safe haven for us, and the support and the crowd, the students, everyone, and the supporters. I mean, it's just a friendly place for us to play.
You and I both know that in the Lone Star Conference, any team can beat anybody else on any given night. But you look at this Kingsville team, and they've really been the definition of struggle this year. They've 0-11 in the Lone Star Conference and average 53 points a game. Talk about Kingsville, a team that you beat twice last year.
They're still a Lone Star Conference team, and they're a Division II opponent, and we're going to treat it like we treated our game last night. There's not a team that you can come out and do anything different. You can't base anything on records. We played a team earlier in the year in Indianapolis who didn't have a great record. Actually, I think they had a losing record, and they were a very good team. So you can't underestimate any team.
What does Kingsville do particularly well?
We haven't had a whole lot of time to look at the video. We actually had practice this morning at 10, and Coach Marks is actually breaking down the video right now. And, we've seen them play against opponents that we've played, but we haven't had the opportunity to really break them down yet.
Micah Weaver is leading the team in scoring. She's got just over 11 points a game. She had 15 points last night against Texas Women's. You've faced her before, and talk about her as a player.
Well, she's athletic, and probably the thing that stands out about her is she's smart. She understands the game. She knows where she needs to be. She knows what cuts she needs to make to get shots off. And sometimes those smart players are the hardest ones to guard because you think you're doing right, and then she makes a cut that makes you look wrong. But we'll probably put Kathy on her and see what she can do against the quickness.
On the other side of the spectrum, you've got a huge game coming against Midwestern State next Wednesday. That one's also in Wisdom Gym. They're on a 12-game winning streak, and they outscore opponents by a pretty hefty margin. They average 70 points a game. Talk about the Mustangs.
They're extremely athletic. We've seen them because they've played a lot of the teams that we've played, and they have a good solid core of about 5 or 6 girls that have been there for 4 years. They're in their 4th year. They really want to go out on top, and so that they're playing really well, and they've played so much. They have so much chemistry, and they're going to be tough.
What do you do defensively? Because they have 4 players that average double-digit scoring in games. What do you have to do defensively?
Well, we haven't thought too much about that. We take it one game at a time. We want to get Kingsville out of the way first, and then we'll kind of game plan for Midwestern. So we haven't really thought about a game plan yet for Midwestern.
Coach, on that note, you've got with Kingsville coming up and then the big game against Midwestern, how do you keep your team? Everybody says just one game at a time, but it's still kind of a struggle one time to keep from looking towards that Midwestern game and still focus on Texas A&M Kingsville. I
think it helps that it falls on a Wednesday. We have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday that, so it's still far enough away that our players don't have to think about it right now. And, it's not like it's one of those back-to-back games that we have to play on the women's side, where we're playing Saturday, Sunday. So I think it's far enough away that our players are focused on Kingsville.
Coach, time now for the Lone Star Conference scoreboard. A very tough Lone Star Conference this year. Talk about everybody at the top, Tarleton on up.
It's kind of the usual suspects.
Yeah.
I have a feeling there's going to be a pretty good log jam at the top, and of course there's only one team that doesn't get into the conference tournament, so everyone else will really be fighting to get a spot because the Lone Star Conference does a great job at that tournament, and it's a place you want to be and you want to prolong your season as long as you can. But Eastern New Mexico, you see teams early, and none of us, I'm going to include us, none of us look all that great, and then you see, when you play them, you see how much they've improved, and I think that's we saw Angelo early in the year, and they were really struggling, and I know that, I talked to their coach, and she was pretty down, but it was so early, and now, she's got them back on track, and that's the thing about the Lone Star Conference is, everyone every week is going to continue to get better, so you have to get better every day.
Coach, let's look at the conference scoreboard right now. It started off on New Year's Day with Midwestern State beating Texas Women's 61-47 in Denton. Then on January 3rd, MSU got their second victory over Texas A&M Commerce, 77-54. But the games we really want to focus on last night when the conference really started in full. First, Eastern New Mexico and Cameron and Lawton. Cameron went on to win that one by 20, 76-56. Tori Tucker for the Zias had 12 points, and Jasmine Robinson 19 points for the Aggies. Robinson, she's going to be a force for the LSC this year.
She is. She is a very, very good athlete. She's very strong. She's fast. She can jump. She's really hard to guard, and she can kind of play down low, or she can come out and shoot the three. So, she will definitely be something that we'll have to game plan for. And even, the Tucker kid, I've always liked her because she plays so hard, and she's just the ultimate competitor. And I think every team in the conference has at least one of those.
Eastern New Mexico losing by 20. Do you think there was maybe a little bit of rust there for the Zias to shake off, or maybe they overlooked the Aggies a little bit?
They probably didn't overlook them. I know Coach Brock does a really good job at Eastern New Mexico, and I don't think anyone in this conference is in a position to overlook anyone. But that first game back, people don't understand how hard that first game back is after the break.
Saw it with Angelo State last night.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. It's like the game that coaches hate to coach in because sometimes you don't even know what to say because it doesn't look like your team. But so I think it was probably more just being the first game back.
Coach, the second game last night was a big one, Midwestern State and West Texas A&M in Wichita Falls. There was the 1-3 matchup in the Lone Star Conference, and the Mustangs are off to a 3-0 start in the LSC with a 77-64 win in that one. Andrea Carter, one of 5 Mustangs in double-figure scoring with 17 points, and Sasha Watson put up 23 points for the Lady Buffs. That's going to be a heck of a game against Midwestern State, but Sasha Watson's really come out of nowhere with West Texas.
And she's just a solid, again, she's one of those smart players that knows how to adjust, and it seems like they're trying to get her the ball more. And I'm sure they've had some talks with her about taking some of the pressure off of Shantiqua White. And, they've got to get a little more from the outside so they can get that inside game. And that's where they really want to go. And I noticed that Midwestern, all 5 of their starters were in double figures last night, but they also played 30 minutes or more. And
wow.
So, you have to believe that might take its toll at some point.
How do you keep your legs fresh whenever you play your players that long in a game?
It just goes back to conditioning and your training staff. I'm sure they're pretty busy trying to keep them in the ice bath and help them to recover as quickly as they can. But either way, they're still human, and it'll take its toll at some point. And
Finally, Coach, Texas Women's beats Kingsville 57-43 in Kingsville. Micah Weaver again with 15 points. This Texas Women's team, do you think she will be part of that log jam at the top of the Lone Star Conference?
I do. She does a great job, and the way the schedule is, they have some of those back-to-back games, and you can slip up in that situation a lot of times, but they're a good team. They're a smart team. They play really hard. They're pretty tenacious, and their guards are fast. And I think their guards are pretty young, and they'll continue to improve throughout the year.
That's going to do it for this segment of the Coach Misty Wilson Radio Show. We're going to take a 1-minute break, and whenever we come back, we'll have announcements, giveaways, and we will send it back to the KTRL studios. This is the Tarleton Sports Network, presented by the North Texas Ford Dealers. And welcome back to First Financial Bank in Stephenville. I'm Kelton Weens on the first ever edition of the Coach Misty Wilson Radio Show. And time now for some giveaways for our live audience. The way this is going to work, folks, Terry Hardcastle has some cards over there. I call your name and she will flip over a card. And that's the prize that you won. First of all is Gerald Harmon. Gerald Harmon, all right. Let's see what Gerald's won. He's got a long sleeve shirt, Congratulations, Gerald. The next one, Bart McDougall. I see Bart, there he is. Tension is building here. He's won a hat, the Tarleton State hat. Congratulations, Bart. And then Stephanie Sims. All right. Congratulations, Stephanie. Coach, great prizes. A pair of First Financial Bank hats for Stephanie. Congratulations. I'd like to thank our live audience for coming out here today. You've been a great live audience. Give yourselves a round of applause. We do have some announcements. First, the Coach Lon Reisman Radio Show will begin tomorrow. That's Fridays from 12 to 12:30 at Bruner Motors at the corner of Lillian and the South Loop in Stephenville. Coach Reisman just came off his 800th game coaching at Tarleton yesterday. You can catch that game. Catch the show on 90.5 KTRL, tarletonsports.com/listen live. Also this weekend with the Tarleton Texans and Texans playing Texas A&M Kingsville. It is Stephenville night. If you live in Stephenville, bring your ID and you get in for free. Otherwise, it's $1. And for everyone at the game, it's $1 concession night. So, Coach, we might have to sneak away and get some of those concessions.
Hey, that's perfect timing right here after Christmas.
Coach, finally, this has been your first show. How do you think it went for you? Are you going to come back?
I think it went good, and I'll come back. I'll be back. I guess it depends how we do.
Well, that's going to do it for the first edition of the Coach Misty Wilson radio show from First Financial Bank in Stephenville. I'd like to thank everyone involved with this broadcast of Tarleton Athletics. Kathy Thomas for joining the show earlier. Our producer back at the KTRL studio, Aaron Young, and our on-site engineer, Jody Lee Connell. And First Financial Bank for being such gracious hosts of this radio show. Most of all, I want to thank everyone for listening, and for the first-year head coach of the Tarleton Texans, I'm Kelton Waynes, and we will talk to you on Saturday night from Wisdom Gym at 5:45 for the Texans and Texas A&M Kingsville. Thanks, and have a great day.